Well, bruising battle underway in Washington over cuts to what is really just a sliver of the government's budget. It's because no one wants to touch the big ticket items. We've talked about them a lot, but again, a reminder, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security by 2020 will make up about 92 cents of almost every dollar spent. And there are programs that the president's own deficit commission has said need to be addressed, of course, adding in the interest on our debt as well, there you see in the middle. The two chairmen of that commission are with us this morning, Alan Simpson, former Republican senator from Wyoming, and Erskine Bowles, former White House chief of staff under President Clinton. Great to see both of you this morning. I know you've been traveling around the country after presenting this and trying to sort of make the case. It's interesting, though, lawmakers can't even agree on the current 2011 budget. And in some ways, they can barely agree on how to proceed for 2 weeks. How do you expect them to tackle something as big and potentially as politically difficult as something like tackling our deficit? Let me start with you, Senator Simpson.
Well, I tell you, Erskine and I have, this is a marvelous colleague to work with. This is a splendid man, and at one point we just decided we'd do a two-man report if nobody else went along. That didn't happen, and we had 60% of the group vote. But I tell you what I tell people, it's very simple. Forget the charts, those are important. If you spend more than you earn, you lose your butt. But the real one is, and everybody at their kitchen table, they're always talking about the couple at the kitchen table. Well, here it is. For every buck we spend, we borrow 40 cents, and if that isn't stupid, you've got a country that is stupid, a government that is stupid to borrow 40 cents, not from your good old Uncle Henry, but from the world. And, you know, they hear that, and we've got to get pumping that out. People are helping us.
Aren't there big differences, though, between our personal budgets, unfortunately, and what we expect from the federal government in terms of services and in terms of help, to the point where it's nearly impossible for the federal government to operate by that same standard, sitting at home and saying we have to balance our budget?
Actually, I don't think so. I mean, every business, every university, every state, every individual, every municipality has stepped up to this problem. The problem we have today is neither the administration or the Congress is really talking about solving this problem. The administration is talking about cuts of $10.5 billion. You know, the House Republicans are talking about $61 billion. That's out of a $3.7 trillion budget. That's a 1.6% cut. I mean, that won't get us to the promised land. As Al says, we've got to get serious. We have to talk about the entitlements, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. We've got to talk about the defense budget, and we have to talk about this spending that's in the tax code, these tax earmarks called tax expenditures.
And you guys did put forth an interesting blueprint, I guess you could call it. And there is a bipartisan group of 6 senators working on this debt commission bill, trying to figure out ways to implement your ideas. And some of them, I mean, when you say something like, okay, we have to change Social Security, current people who are retiring or are reliant on that get nervous. But you guys are talking out, what, to 2075, upping the retirement age, and some things that will make a difference but aren't going to be, the pain isn't going to be felt right now. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, and the word cut is not fair, and it's not true, and the word privatization is not true, which is a lie. But when you have the energy of people who don't want us to do anything and hope we fail, and one group I'll name is the AARP, they keep telling us they have 2 modest changes to suggest. They have suggested nothing. 38 million of them. And I asked their leader, I said, are any of you patriots or just marketers? They're out there beating the gong. Now, what we're doing with Social Security, if we can't get done, then forget it. I mean, if we can't solve Social Security by making it solvent, seeing it solvent for 75 years, well then, if we can't get that done, boy, Medicare, Medicaid, and defense, hang by your thumbs. So. But it isn't about cutting, it's about solvency, so that young people and old people will have money, because if they don't do anything in the year 2037, you waddle up to the window and your check will be 22% less, and nobody challenges that figure.
And that's what I want to know, just to sort of bring it to people, bring it home to people. We talk a lot about, we need to tackle this. We have a deficit commission. We need to really do something about our debt. We need to stop borrowing so much. What are some of the real-life consequences that you can tell people right now, Mr. Bowles, would happen if we don't start taking this seriously?
Well, it just takes Social Security. The do-nothing plan, Social Security goes broke in 2037, and by law, benefits have to be reduced by 22% in 2037. You know, we're talking about raising the age. That's 100% true. We are. But the age right now is not 65 when you're eligible. It's 66. And by current law, it goes to 67 in 2027.
Right.
And we take it to 68 40 years from now and to 69, 65 years from now when our grandchildren will finally be eligible for it. I think that gives people plenty of chance to get ready. We also raise the minimum payment that people can get, those that are less well off, to 125% of poverty. We give a bump up to the people between 81 and 86. That made our job more difficult because that cost money, but we did it in order to really take care of the truly disadvantaged.
Do you think people hear you? Do you think there are people out there who can change these laws or can make these laws that hear you?
If we can get through the fog of hysteria, we knew that we would be savaged royally on anything we did, and boy, we have. Yeah. But they'll never trick us. They can't stand. They're going to hear what we've got. People who want to tell this story, especially young people now, are hearing what we're saying. We also take care of the hardship people in this thing. The guy at the steel mill, the worker in the field, who can't retire any earlier or later than now. And then we bump it a little. We get more from the people who have more and get it to people who have less. And that's what the president's talking about. I don't know how people can challenge what we're doing when the president and everybody says we have to be sure we take care of the little guy. And then when you do it, they bring up some esoteric formula that we're not doing it right. I mean, what babble.
Well,
but you're right. You know, if we don't do something, there are big consequences. Admiral Mullen, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, has already said this is the biggest single national security problem we have, bigger than terrorism. If you believe we got to invest in education and infrastructure and high-value research, like the president talked about in the State of the Union, you know, if you believe we need to do that to be competitive in a knowledge-based global economy, there's not going to be any money. All of it will be consumed by these entitlements. And if you're a business guy and you're out there thinking, gosh, I got to have capital to grow my business because small businesses can't grow, can't create jobs without money, they'll be crowded out of a marketplace because by the year 2020, we'll be paying over $1 trillion in interest cost alone for this debt.
Big issues, no easy answers, but hopefully people are listening. Alan Simpson and Erskine Bowles, great to have both of you with us as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You bet.